So the big thing we talked about is just how you get energy into your system. There's six things that someone possibly can move. There's hips, shoulders, wrist, and then you have the ground forces using your legs, your core muscles, and your arms. When you get in trouble, your first natural motion is to get power in a wind up. And so when your wind up is meaning your hips and shoulders are going to start twisting away from you. And that twist away flattens your golf club out behind you. So you trying to get power, right there you're twisting. And you see how much this front knee goes forward? So when I see that, that means a lot of twist this way and your knees having to move forward for balance. So right now your lower half is not it's not in a resisting state, it's in a turning state. Now the problem is you get to the top, it doesn't look so bad, but where the energy is being placed is meaning you're more wound up here and not being able to push off the ground first. So now your swing is top heavy and your club is flat. So now you have to get this thing back in front of you, and you could drop. If somebody was there, they would have to literally drop their hands down, get the weight down the leg, and then go forward. But that takes time, and when we get anxious, it's hard to do. So your natural motion is a twist from the upper body. So if I go back and forth, you see all the energy's up in the shoulders twisting, not the lower half driving. Now, because that happens here and the club's in this flat position, you're trying to get it back in front, and now you're out of sync. So the only thing you can do is just kind of flip those hands over. But you also see the energy of your body going away from the shot that way. And there's a twist and there's a flip. Now you got to time this thing, and it's hard to get that compression. And your release point, as we saw in your shots, that is where we should be at impact before we get to the ball. So now your moment of inertia is late, and therefore we're not going to get as much energy into the shot. You'll see here from down the line is because of this motion, what we call your body has to come out of it to get the club around. So you're just, no, not the energy's heading towards the ball, it's heading away, and you're flipping. So the things that we worked on, is compact your swing and get the energy. This is, I think, is the half wedge swing. And to start off, this is what I would practice with the most. You're going to see here the knees don't move as much. Here's your original one. You'll see how much your belt is moving. Knees are moving. And I wanted you to feel in this first part that this has stayed facing the ball as long as you can. You'll feel resistance here in your feet and like a spring effect here. That's why we didn't see the knees move so much, and the belt stayed the same. See, the belt's not moving as much as we saw over here where they're twisting. This keeps that club right in front of you instead of behind you, and now you're in a more powerful position to drive off the ground as your ground forces now can kick in here to help out. And over here, even though it feels like you're making a bigger swing because you moved more, but here your hands are almost the exact same height, and you're thinking you're doing a 3/4 wedge. Now, if we look here in the background, you'll see that person's leg as a reference point. You'll see how much you move laterally now. So there is the push, because you can push from the ground here. You just can spin. You really can't drive. And then the flip. And because of that, everything lines up at impact. And now we can stay down through the shot. So we have one here for the front. So there's your release point right there before you even get to the ball, and you see that disconnect here. That whole thing got right at impact. So now you're applying leverage to the ball. And now you can stay down and release it instead of being pulled away. See your body pull away and trying to release. And see how you stay down naturally through the shot. See how long you stay down here? You're fighting to stay down. You're trying to keep that head down, but the energy's pulling you up. That just means that's all that disconnect in your swing. So really just came, stabilize that backswing. Feel like you're playing leverage to the ball here and then let it slingshot through. So the drills we kind of did. So this one drill, as you can see here, as a tour player goes to the shot, how quiet their hands are. There's not a lot going on because they're applying leverage. They're not flipping. Your hands, because of the disconnect, had a lot of rotation, a lot of motion. The tour players have quiet hands, whether they're hitting a wedge shot or driver. Hands are quiet because they're playing leverage. They're not trying to have a lot of activity going on. So the first drill we kind of did to help feel this, by putting my arm here, move it to impact. So I'm hugging my core muscles here, keeping this part of my arm connected to my body. My elbow down arm is just think of it as a throwing motion. And I'm trying to use the ground. So the first part is feel resistance here on the way back. Feel connected, strong right here. And feel like the bag gives you a sense you're standing right on top of it where you spun away. And Roy over here, we're going to watch the bag. You're going to see here the same, he's applying force to the bag like I am. And that's what you want to feel. We want to play leverage. When your backswing and where you're trying to get energy, you couldn't get that consistent leverage feeling. So here, you're starting to look more similar to that. And that's your compression to the ball. So I go ahead and move to Jon Rahm, even though it looks different, but right here, all tour players look the same. They play leverage to a ball using a force, and each has different speeds and they can do it, but the same motion. Just really get to feel how to move from applying leverage instead of just playing. Your swing has a lot of speed, but not always a lot of leverage. The last part here, if you resist, you see how the club stays in front of you more, and you know your backswing where it got behind you. And again, the same drill from the side view, still about piling leverage. See how their body doesn't stand up out of it because where they're going, they're creating leverage and not speed. And the last part is the slingshot part. Once we apply leverage to something, all the energy is leaving you, so you're going to stop as a force. It's important to feel the force only to the bag and then let it fly. And that you have to get better at because normally your timing is also hit and let it go. Hit and just release the energy. So most people are going too long. They're trying to turn too long to the finish. So feel the hit and let it go. So there's the hitting the bag feeling and then letting go feeling. You're just trying to get as much energy right here from that point to the leverage of the bag to get as much energy to the golf club to keep your club at speed, and then everything comes up after that.